Welcome back to The Grind for the guide I have for Kamala taking down the champion boss. This is for the Carina's challenge where you have to complete a path and defeat this boss with just Kamala. Now the path getting down to him is fairly straightforward, but I do have a full guide with those fights included if you want to take a look at that as well. Now the champion boss is a pain in the butt, and yes, there are solos on YouTube. This is not going to be that. This is going to be hopefully a way to help you prepare for the frustrations and little tips to get around it. Now, what you can see here is his persistent charges will go up with time, and every 20 hits on the combo meter, it's going to remove one. And also, if you nullify a Fury, it's going to remove one. And remember, you can nullify buffs with the special one. So this is another reason why not having suicides would make this much easier. Now he starts the fight with a lengthy unstoppable buff, so you want to be prepared for that, and you can kill some time by parrying him and even getting in a couple hits during the stun so that you can start to build up your combo meter. Now you're going to see Primal Fury trigger right before he goes unstoppable, and take a look, when we throw our special one off, we're a little late to nullify the Furies, but we do nullify the unstoppable buff right as it triggers. So without suicides, you can comfortably continue racing to your special one, throwing it off to nullify Furies, unstoppable buff, and keep the persistent charges down, which will make the fight go by a lot easier. Now, if you're like me and you're gonna die in this fight, after you die, I recommend doing a parry heavy and then immediately dashing in to try to counter him as he's standing up. This is a good way to start building up your combo meter fast and get some hits in before he starts his first unstoppable, which is right there after it says Primal Fury on the right side. At this point, you can parry, get a couple hits in, but you can't do this the whole fight because in the next stage, if you hit him while he's unstoppable, you will get stunned. And again, if you cycle your special ones, you can nullify the Furies and keep the persistent charges down. Now again, he's unstoppable, and we're going to wait that out and get a couple hits on our combo meter as we go, because every time you cross a 20 hit threshold, you'll be removing one of the persistent charges as well. But since I'm not cycling special ones, the persistent charges end up staying high throughout the entire time, unfortunately. Now I went to charge this heavy so that I could stack up some Furies before throwing my special 3. After he throws a special 1, if you dash back a couple times, you can start charging heavy and then unleash it for after he finishes the animation. However, you have to be cautious with the unstoppable timer, because sometimes I get caught by charging a heavy and then he gets his unstoppable with that Primal Fury triggers, and then I can't unleash the heavy attack without hitting into the unstoppable. And so I did end up making that mistake a couple times, so you have to be very careful with the timing of his unstoppable buff, especially if you don't have a special one that you can use to then nullify it. Now again, we're waiting out the unstoppable so that then we can counter in, and you're going to see here we throw the special 1 and it's going to nullify the Furies 2 at a time actually, and each time we nullify one of them, we're going to be removing a persistent charge. Now we've pushed him past the 70% threshold into opening bout, and he's going to have unblockable light attacks, so you don't want to parry up close, and if you attack into the unstoppable buff, then you are going to be stunned and he's going to wreck you, so don't do that. You're also going to want to be very cautious about only parrying him if he's dashing from a far distance, because those are medium dash attacks. If you're close to him before you try to parry, there's a chance it's a light attack and it will go straight through your block and he'll kill you. You're also able to heavy counter his heavy attacks, but again, you have to be cautious about when the unstoppable is going to trigger. So in this stage, I'm mostly trying to bait out heavy attacks and special attacks to counter with heavy attacks if I can, but a lot of times the unstoppable buff is active. Here we were able to bait out a heavy attack and then counter with our own heavy attack, and now we're going to be able to counter his special attack with our heavy attack, and then I think we're nullifying, actually we nullified the unstoppable buff with that special 1, which is very nice, and then again a heavy attack we're able to counter with our special attack, and right now we have 7 Furies, and then unfortunately his unstoppable triggered and I was already charging my heavy, so I kind of ate that. As you can tell, that having suicides is somewhat limiting for this fight. Now once you get him down below 40%, his medium attacks are now unblockable instead of the light attacks. He's also able to shrug debuff, so you can't rely on parrying him, which can result in you getting backed up in the corner, as you saw happen to me there. So you want to get used to baiting out heavy attacks if possible, and keeping a steady flow going with baiting out special attacks and then pushing him over a bar of power, which again, if you don't have suicides and you can freely throw your special ones, you'll be giving him more power and be able to control that side of the fight a lot more easily. And again, as much as you can, countering his special attacks and heavy attacks with your own heavy attacks will help to gain your furies up, as well as push him over a bar of power so you can continue baiting more special attacks and make the fight run more smoothly. There we're able to nullify some furies. Now in this stage, because you can't reliably parry his attacks, I usually try to start with an intercept, however you want to call it, so that I can get a 5-hit combo off right from the start. And then I eventually play a little more cautiously because of the unstoppable buff, and now I'm backed against the wall, so I had to go a little Quake style and then counter with a little light attack and get some damage off, which was very nice, and pushed him back into the middle. And then after that, you push him down below 10% and you get into the final phase where you have to get rid of these indestructible passives, and you have to do that by dexing a component of the opponent's special attack. This, I just wanted to highlight that you can use the special one to nullify the unstoppable if you need to. Now, the way that you can do this depends on what you're most comfortable with. And what I prefer to do is bait the special one, take a couple hits into the block, and then right before the headbutt, I dex back at last second. And I wasn't able to do it 100% of the time, but I was able to do it somewhat frequently, somewhat reliably. And you'll probably want to heal up for this part if you do end up dying, so that you can take some blocked hits. I highly recommend practicing this before you come into this fight, whether this is the challenge or your first time going against the champion. Now, I do have a champion guide for basic Act 6 completion and exploration, and I do go into more detail on the various ways that you can dex his special attacks, and it has some other helpful tips. So I'll try to link that for this video if you are interested in seeing that one as well. So now after you dex it 3 times, you get that prowess, and then you throw off a special attack for some big damage. Ideally, you can save up your power while you're dexing the 3 parts of his special attacks, so that by that time you can just throw off a special 3 and be done with the fight. So I really do hope that this guide was helpful. Let me know what your thoughts are, how it goes for you. I recommend saving up some revives. I think I used around 30 revives for this challenge, which is more than I had hoped to, but about what I expected, unfortunately. Thankfully, I still had some in my stash. So I hope this was helpful. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.